I feel like goals are super glorified in our culture. Personally though, it's no more special or useful to me than brushing your teeth. Goals can pull you all over the place. At times, I've wanted so many things that I feel like I have no feet left to stand on. And at times, I've even gotten some of my goals, yet I still feel like I had no feet to stand on. It's also so easy to be deceiving about what goals are. If I say I want to read 3 books a month, I could choose to read very easy books and get that out of the way. If I say I want to practice Chinese for 30 minutes a day, I could choose to practice very easy phrases that doesn't really improve my Chinese and get that out of the way. If I say I want to exercise every day, I could choose to practice something very easy and also get that out of the way and make no actual progress in my fitness goal. What I'm trying to say is that these goals indicate a theme and not an actual specific thing that you want to accomplish. Instead, I just try to cherish the conflict and moments of peace that come out of challenging myself. In fact, I have often found that the supposed distraction from my goals have been the most useful time spent. I love the random walks with friends that derail my entire plan and evening and routine. The random eat out at restaurants that completely destroy my diet but taste so good. The insane fun side quests that you take with random people that supposedly derail you from your entire practice, yet create such beautiful moments. Technically speaking, in a matter, I'm failing at achieving all my goals and routines. Yet I find that bridging your skill between these distracted events, what marks a true sense of wisdom and genius. There are never any true distractions because that is the goal. The goal is to bridge the practice. There is never any temptations to beat because the temptations are a method of understanding. Where the wind floats you is the way you go. For me, bridging skills is where my true focus always lied. And in this manner, if I'm tempted, then I'm tempted by only that feeling. Sometimes there's a feeling that I want moments of peace and quiet and silence and 2 hours of focus with empty stomach. Then I'm tempted by that feeling. The feeling of ambition towards a goal, the feeling of drive. Those are still just temptations and desires that the wind gust took you to. But as it came, it will also pass. And when that desire for ambition focus passes, it will inevitably again arise the feeling of a lack of groundedness. This lack of groundedness will again lead you to the temptations of wanting to lock in, supposedly. And for this reason, all of it's within a causal chain. Goals are not an endpoint, but rather just a change of pace. It's a shift in our conscious mind. No more different from a distraction. Nothing intrinsically good or bad about it. It's just a phase. For example, in my own life right now, I'm already thinking about a different job. I haven't even been accepted it, nor have I passed the interview stages, but somehow my mind's already conjuring up different pros and cons, what things I like about it, how it would change my life, and no matter what, it feels like no job could truly actually fit the type of life I want. Low-key, like, jobs are kind of a vibe killer. I just want a lot of money and free time to mess around with things, you know? That's really all I want. However, I will say I like the idea of working on something important. I like the idea of dressing up and going somewhere. I like the idea of connecting with people if it's not useless. I like the idea of teaching and learning about others. But I definitely don't want to be wasting my time doing something menial, repeatable, and replaceable and just boring. Not in a good way, but in some manners, that's just what it comes with. I bring this up because one of my friends or a classmate recently has gotten herself 2 Emmys already, but by working through a very corporate structured type of job, nothing entrepreneurial or artistic per se, at least in its face value. Yet, I like exactly what she does. She spends her time connecting with people, understanding others, reporting the news essentially, working through understanding what it means to live different lives. Another one of my friends is in the complete opposite boat, but is also very successful. He has basically figured out a way of monetizing his traveling and his workouts and runs and him just interacting with random strangers, including his family. It's not necessarily used like what my previous friend did, but it is learning about others, and it does have a lot of charm and charisma that comes from looking to understand others truly. They feel like different people entirely, and they do different things, yet I feel like they came to similar conclusions. When I asked them how they came upon their careers, they both stumbled upon it in very different ways. They never actually aimed for Emmys. They never actually aimed for a way of living online that pays for their travel. Just kind of stumbled upon them because they were just living. There was not much planning involved. The plans and goals were just a byproduct of already living the way they want to live. Dreaming is a part of it, but really living is 100% of it. This is what I mean by ignoring goals and cherishing conflict. For example, right now, in my own life, currently I see someone left their chicken nuggets lying around on the kitchen for a whole day. My roommate was giving some ill thought out political takes. It's not necessarily helpful all the time. Some of my friends take the bantering too hard, and look, it just kind of hurt my feelings a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. My previous experiences with things like this kind of lead me to overreact tremendously. None of these things are even remotely that bad at all. In fact, majority of the time, I've experienced a tremendous amount of love and comfort and joy that comes out of these type of situations. Because when one of these things happen, I get reminded of my previous times, right? In undergrad, for example, some of my previous classmates might have been low-key disrespectful in some manner. Like they may have been too loud. Some of my roommates left everything kind of unmanageably dirty. They stayed up a lot, and I felt like they were holding me back from my goals and visions, mainly because I could not sleep. I remember feeling this exact same feeling about my parents at one point in my relationship with them. I felt like people around me in general were just holding me back from achieving my goals. And it's those same feelings that come back when I just see chicken nuggets lying in the kitchen table. It's not that big of a deal. It's the same feeling that comes when someone gives me a light banter when it's not even that big of a deal. It's me reliving the past that makes me feel like I'm not achieving my goals. I remember feeling a sense of vengeance when those things happened. I wanted to actively leave it all behind and find so much success that these problems would never follow me again. Little did I know that not addressing that problem would just mean it would follow me everywhere in every little thing. The goal is to find something and resolve something for yourself, for your own mental volition, right here and right now. The conflict that you find yourself in, if it brings you anger, will not resolve itself in the future. The anger will not disappear in the future. The frustration of losing will not disappear just because you won once in the future. The rejection you experience now, if it brings you heartbreak, will not heal just because you accumulate more in the future. In this way, everything you do is equally important. Every moment, even if you think it's conflict, is to be cherished. How you do anything is how you do everything. Conflicts will always follow you around. The main reason why small things like those bothered me so much was because I felt like it was distracting me from my vision and from my goal. But if I didn't have any of the goals I'm talking about, is it really even a problem? Not really. But if I understood that that was the problem that I'm trying to beat, the problem of feeling frustrated by something, then I would understand that I have all the answers that I'm looking for right now. It's not that I have all the solutions necessarily, but I have the capacity to form a solution for every little problem, right? And in some manner, these little small things that I'm thinking about that's somehow beyond my goal applies the exact same principles of problem solving that anything else would. I once heard someone say, it's not necessarily about being good at everything, because that's impossible, but it would be really cool to be good at something that you've never even tried because you've applied it in smaller things. That's the goal, right? And that's why it's important for us to cherish the small conflict, because that is the goal, to be even-minded in everything. What exactly is distraction in this framework? In fact, I feel like if we follow our thought bubbles all the way through, where knowledge kind of like grasps us, so some kind of insight kind of grasps us, right? What that means is that a distracted mind is looking for something to fix. If we understand what that is, then it doesn't have the interest in being out of this moment. We no longer have to fix it if we could understand it. Oftentimes, we're using brute force tactic to stay in our vision, in our goal, to let the mind not wander. But this brute force doesn't really work for long, not in the same way that understanding and letting go does. And that type of understanding doesn't happen through us trying to fix ourselves, I think. What I'm trying to say is that I would not worry so much about distraction. For example, if I'm writing something and I'm conflicted and I start doing something else, does that mean that my brain is no longer thinking about the writing? No, that's not true. Our subconscious mind is obviously still continuously thinking about those things, those ideas, those problems. Kind of like how if I study something and I sleep on it, it improves the next day. And that could be for everything, right? Any skill, actually. In this way, the idea of task switching is a myth, of course, because everything is being continuously applied in the transitory states. It's all connected in this intricate flow of like experiences. And so in this way, I finally stopped worrying about the wandering monkey mind and distraction. The mind wanders no matter what. It is just designed for that in some ways. Yet behind all those wandering thoughts, I think there's an awareness that punctuates each feeling. That awareness is beautiful. Behind all my judgmental thoughts about myself, the desire to scratch my itch, there is still awareness. Goals and distractions are just two opposite ends of the spectrum that need each other and balance each other. Each only ever functions as a way of learning about myself and understanding myself at the end of the day. I try not to care too much about my goals and achieving other things now, but I hope I can learn to stay engaged through all of it, all the time. Unraveling chains of thoughts rather than suppressing it. Cherishing conflict rather than avoiding it, and letting go of everything. That is the way I'd rather live.